You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Challenge us at Wexford Insurances 0818 31 30 30.
Welcome back to the show. I'm now joined in studio by renowned communications consultant Orlaith Carmody of mediatraining.ie. Orla, you're here with me today to discuss the Irish chapter of the Entrepreneurs Organisation. Start by telling us what it's all about, please.
The Entrepreneurs Organisation is an international organisation which has been going for the last 25 years and has about 9,000 members internationally. And it's just starting up in Ireland. And I came across it along with a few other people and was invited to join. And I've just enjoyed it. And I think it's going to be very impactful on my own business. And I'd like other people to hear about how it might help their businesses as well.
Okay, and who is the Entrepreneurs Organisation aimed at specifically? What type of businesses?
Well, it's aimed at businesses right across the board. I mean, the service, production, manufacturing, retail, whatever aspect of business you happen to be in. But there's a number of criteria for joining this organisation, and that is you have to be the founder or the director or the owner of the business, and you have to have a turnover greater than €750,000 a year. So it's not aimed at startups, or it's not aimed at people who are hoping to make great tracks in business. It's for people who are already well established but perhaps are looking at taking their business to the next level.
How does this differ from Business Networking International?
Well, there are a lot of business networking organisations out there, and that's one of many, obviously. And the focus for many of those organisations is on networking, and it's on passing around your business card, and it's about, getting your brother to tile my kitchen and for you to shop at my sister's boutique or whatever. And this organisation is specifically not about that. Solicitation is specifically disallowed because there are plenty of organisations doing that already. And the focus of EO is all about learning and development and growth and supporting each other as entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur can be quite lonely. It can be you and your product or your service up against that wall. And even if you're quite a big organisation and you employ quite a lot of people, sometimes you can't discuss things with those people because they are your employees. And sometimes you find yourself a little bit lonely in terms of how do you make your decisions and how do you learn and how do you, put in best practice into your company. So when you join EO, you become part of a forum, and there will be 7 or 10 different people from around the country within that forum, and you will meet them once a month, and they become your non-executive board of directors in an informal kind of a way. That forum becomes very tight, very solid. Those people become really supporters to you in your business. And obviously the way they're selected to go into a forum means that there aren't any conflicting businesses in there. So it can become quite confidential, and you might, begin to see this forum as your another extended family, your business family, because they are people who really have your back in business and they will help you with any particular problems you might have.
And how did this come on your own radar?
Well, through my involvement with the Dragon's Den programme through my husband, Gavin Duffy, who some of you will know, one of the dragons. And one of the companies that Gavin invested in going back was in one of the first series of the Dragon's Den was called Tan Organic. And that's run by a very inspirational entrepreneur, Noelle O'Connor. And Noelle has been a member of EO for many years. And she kept telling us about it. You really have to learn more and hear more about this organisation. But Noelle came across it when it wasn't in Ireland, obviously. So she used to go to London once a month to take part in her forum. But she has said her forum are just absolutely there for her on so many levels, in so many ways. And she attributes a huge amount of her success in business to the support she's got from her forum. So then, to sort of move the story on, we were invited by EO to go and speak at some of their events. They run events all around the world for training and development and growth that members go to. One of those was in Las Vegas, and Gavin and I were invited to go to that and to speak at it, and again in London. And we just began to become quite intrigued by EO. And then the next thing was the Boston Forum was going to be coming to Ireland, and we ended up hosting a breakfast meeting for them and introducing them to all the business community in my own town, which is Drogheda. And that was very, very impactful, and we were really impressed by the people we met and the kind of business they're doing and the kind of support they clearly gave to each other and to everybody else. So that was it then when Noelle said, right, the time has come, we're starting up the Irish chapter. We said, okay, love us, we're in.
And what are the other dragons' thoughts in relation to the Entrepreneurs Organisation?
Well, I haven't spoken to all of them, but actually Ramona Nicholas, one of the new dragons this year, and her husband, Canis Nicholas, they're like Gavin and I. They're a husband and wife business partnership, and we've become great friends with them. And of course, then we told them about it, and they've joined now as well. And we're at the early stages of our own membership, so I'm only learning about this as I go as well. But we're very excited about it. And one of the first things we're doing is there's a conference in Madrid now next month, and we're all going to go off to that and learn a bit more about EO and take part in all the learning sessions that'll be going on then. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So from a practical perspective, let's say an Irish business owner joins EO today. What happens next?
Well, the first thing you do is once you get your membership approved, you become part of this EO international family, and you would be put into a forum, as I said, where there won't be a conflict of interest in your own particular business. And we will begin to go to a monthly meeting and hopefully get to know your forum and start sharing your business issues when the trust develops. And it is all about trust and confidentiality and support. And funny enough, non-judgmental advice. In fact, you don't give advice at all, because if you know the animal, the entrepreneur, it's very specific. They're driven, they're focused, they're single-minded, and they don't take advice easily. And I say that in the best possible way. You know, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs because they're single-minded and because they know what they want to do and they have a vision. So the way the peer-to-peer support works, and that's a hugely important part of it, is, you know, I might say, well, look, here's what I did with my particular business problem. This is what worked for me. I'm sharing it with you. Take it or leave it. And then you can say, gosh, that's interesting. I might try that back at the ranch myself. But nobody's telling you what to do, because entrepreneurs don't take kindly to be told what to do. So it's about just sharing your experience and people seeing for themselves, there's something I didn't try. I'll try that now myself.
What type of a time commitment will be required from business owners that join EO?
Well, you have to attend your forum meeting once a month, which is going to be in Dublin based regardless of where you are in the country. So that's going to take the best part of an evening. Then you might want to do a Skype call during the course of that month. Maybe if somebody has a particular issue they want their forum to help them on, you might take 10 minutes or half an hour to do that. You might choose then to go to some of these international events. You might go to an event in London or in some other part of Europe or further afield if you see something. The organisation is all about learning and development. So they will lay on speakers information, cutting edge information specific to your industry, and you can check the calendar events that's going on worldwide and you can find out the one that is going to actually give you the most support. It's also hugely useful if you have decided that now the German market is the one that you have to target. So you will just go online. The online forum is very important as well. You will go online, throw your question out there and say, look, I need to go into Germany, I'm in publishing, I need to tackle Berlin particularly. You will get 10 responses back straight away saying, here's who you need to talk to, here's how to do it, and doors just open for you. And I think that's going to be the power of EO for me personally. I think it's going to be just opening those doors, that I could land anywhere around the world and find that my EO family are going to be there for me and are going to give me some support and advice and make that path a little bit easier for me.
It sounds like something that's really purpose-built and custom-made for very, very positive thinking people, especially from a business environment. What's the typical makeup of a group? Is it business-to-business service providers, business-to-consumers, product providers or service providers?
Well, I can only base that on the group I met most recently, and that was the group I mentioned that came from Boston, and there was about 35 of them, and they came over to Ireland as part of the gathering, and we brought them actually to Drogheda, because, you know, when an American group comes in like that, you try to grab them for your hometown. So sorry Wexford didn't get them. Drogheda got them for a couple of days. But what we did was, we just met them and introduced them to the local business community. So yeah, what were they typically? I would say maybe between 35 and 55 in age. I'd say a fairly equal balance, male and female, a completely broad range of businesses. There was somebody there in tech, in publishing, there was somebody in television production, there was somebody running nursing homes, there was somebody in the services industry, right across the board, and equally between manufacturing, service, right across the board.
While you're here with me this morning, I'd like to have a chat to you as well about women in business, because you have a huge impact in relation to that. You travel around the country giving talks to women in business all year round. Tell me what's happening out there today in women in business.
I think there's a huge buzz in women in business at the moment. I don't know what it is, but there's like a great ferment there that women are looking around and saying, you know what, I need to be doing more with myself and I need to be starting a business. And maybe it's economic necessity. People are saying, I need to be in business. Or maybe it is that, when you've gone through the child raising years for a few years and you've taken time out of your career, you turn around and you say, right, okay, I'm going to get back in and what am I going to do? And there's a huge interest in the women's networks and the women's clubs and the new groups, network of enterprising women that are opening up around the country. The county enterprise boards have been absolutely brilliant. They're seeing the women emerging in business and they're supporting this hugely. Enterprise Ireland has spotted it as well, very significantly, and recently ran a programme specifically for high potential startups for female-led businesses. And they got a great reaction, they got a great response to their trawl for applicants for that. And 30 businesses led by women have now gone on a programme receiving financial support and mentoring and development. But that space that Enterprise Ireland has identified is crucial in that when women think of starting a business, it's important that from day one they think of export and scale and think big and dream big. An awful lot of women, when they start a business, they say, oh, I'll open a local shop, or I'll do something local, or I'll sell in the farmer's market, and they think small at the start. That's a message I'm getting back all the time. And I think it's terribly important to say from day one, no, think big, because there's a big need for women to move into that bigger space, and they will get the supports, and they will. Now, you can start with the Enterprise Board, you can go in and start your own business course. There's a lot of those running around the country. I know there's a lot more scheduled for September, and to get on one of those, to start even exploring what area would I like to be in if I'm thinking of going into business. So that's one thing that's very, very positive that's happening around the country. As you say, I speak to the network groups, I speak to the county enterprise supports groups all the time, and I would do a lot of the business development side of it, and then I would also do the media, social media training, traditional media training, presentation training. Again, speaking about the things that hold us back, some women feel, oh, I find it difficult to put myself forward. I find it difficult to even put my face up on my website, my picture, or I find it difficult to stand up and speak to a room full of people. So joining a network group that makes you network more, talk to people more, stand up and tell people what your business is all about. It's all very good. It's all very positive. But there's a huge buzz out there at the moment. I must say it's a really exciting time.
It would be a missed opportunity if I didn't ask you to provide some of our listeners with advice this morning in relation to communications. What are your top 3 tips?
Top 3 tips regarding communications would be just be yourself. Sometimes when people try to communicate, be it on the radio like this or standing up in front of a room full of people, they think they need to put on their official straitjacket and get terribly pompous and terribly formal in their communication. And I'm always saying, that's not the way we speak. We speak very naturally and normally when we're chatting to our friends. So don't speak any differently because you're in business or you're presenting at an event. Just be yourself and tell your story from the heart. For a business to be a success, you have to be passionate about it. You have to really believe the world needs this product. If you don't really believe in it, people pick that up and they start hearing that in your communication.
Well, Orla, many thanks for coming in and speaking to us this morning, and I wish you every success with developing the Irish chapter of the Entrepreneurs Organisation. If you've just tuned in, you are welcome along to this week's edition of Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. You can contact me on Twitter at Karl Fitzpatrick. Coming up after the news, I'll be speaking to Wexford County Manager Adrian Doyle about what the local authority is doing to support businesses across the county. So stay tuned.
You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Think Wexford Insurances for your business insurance.